Hello everybody, it's Natalie from Creative Makers, and I'm here for our emergency, our alternate interview today. We were supposed to have Connie Roman, who's a fabric artist, but she's under the weather, so we have fabulous Diane Behrens here stepping in, and she was on the list anyway, so now we have her sooner rather than later. And I'm happy to introduce you to Diane. We're sitting a little bit farther apart than usual. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Still gonna be good. All right, so, and people come in as they want, if they want, and then they watch us later. It's okay. You guys all know. All right, first question. So, the thing I always ask people when we start is I want to know about your creativity as a kid. I mean, we all know that we start drawing and as kids, and most of us take to it. We all like making marks. But what did it look like for you as a kid? I mean, did you know that there was something bigger there for you even when you were a child?
Well, my grandmother was an artist, and her whole life revolved around art. And we lived in France. She lived in France. So we were exposed to art. My whole family, my mother came from a very artistic background, and she actually brought my brother and I, when she would come for Christmas, she would bring us drawing supplies and pads to draw on. So I was doodling at a very young age. And my sister was a pretty phenomenal artist, and she was 5 years older than I was, and she did really interesting things, and I would watch her. And we would go out and see my grandmother, and I would watch her. So there were all the influences. And, when you're in France, you're going to all the beautiful museums and everything. My parents took us everywhere.
What was the first medium that you remember falling in love with?
I don't remember. Probably crayons.
No, but I mean after that. I mean, like, what did you like get a paintbrush in your hand and start thinking, I really love doing this. This is really fun.
No, I doodled. Rapidograph pens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Rapidographs. I love those.
I loved doodling with those as a teenager. I did a lot of doodling. And then when I went to Florence, I took some painting classes. But the first thing I started working in was acrylic. I went to Barnsdall, and they had these classes. I did the artist's way.
Oh, right.
So basically what happened was I went to college, and I thought I'm going to major in art. I'm going to, when I went to New York, I thought I want to work as an artist, make a living as an artist. So I went to the Art Students League, and I hadn't done an awful lot of painting, but I went to the Art Students League, and there was this model, and I painted her, and I looked at the painting, and I thought, oh my God, I am not good enough at this to earn a living at it, which means I'll have to work in a museum or in an art gallery in order to pursue my dream, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So I had also had an interest in acting, and I actually called my mother, and I said, I don't want to be working peripherally around the thing I want to do. So I'm thinking maybe I'll be a stockbroker or something. And she said, no, go for the art. So I started taking acting classes and got very, very involved with that. And then I came out here and started earning a living at it. And then I did this book called The Artist's Way. Are you familiar with it?
Yes.
What a life changer in the 90s.
I didn't do it, but I know lots of people that did it.
Oh, it's so amazing. So I did the workbook and the 3 pages every morning, and it directed me to things like, what is it that you want to do that you aren't doing now? If you had all the time in the world, what would you be doing? And one of them was going back to the art. And my friend calls me up one night and says, hey, I'm signing up for some classes at Barnsdall. Do you want to join me? And because I had written it down in this workbook.
Tell people what Barnsdall is, because
these
people are everywhere.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was exclusively LA.
No.
Barnsdall Art Center is a place where people go sign up for classes, and they can do ceramics, art, basically that's it. Painting, drawing. Anyway, it's a great, so she just said, do you want to sign up? And because I had written it in this workbook, I said yes. Otherwise, I would have said no, It's out of my comfort zone. But it wasn't, because I'd written it out. So we went there. She never pursued it, but I did, and it just took off. The moment I started drawing and painting there, you know, we'd have these street fairs and everything would sell. It was just bizarre. It was like that period of 20 years or whatever it was when I had dropped it. Somehow it was a cumulative, like I'd been doing it for those 20 years. And what?
Oh, no, go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, so it was pretty amazing, and I really loved it. And I worked in acrylic initially because it was cheaper than oil, and I didn't even know if I'd like it. And I'd buy these canvases from the Goodwill. I mean, everything was secondhand. And then those paintings started selling, and then, should I keep going?
Well, let me ask you a couple.
Okay.
Let me ask. So, did you get an art degree?
No.
No. So that stopped. So
I have no real training.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, which is
who cares?
Just fine.
Yeah.
No, I'm proud of that.
Yeah,
Actually,
no, who cares?
Because I've done quite well
you
with the
didn't.
art.
So, and wait a minute. I have to go back to the stockbroker thing. You have an interest in stock market?
Oh yeah, no,
okay.
I've got a lot of different.
I just have to ask because lots of you know, and I know lots of artists do not want to go down that road at all. You know, but lots of people like you and like me were right and left brain and flip back and forth all the time. And this is exciting. It makes for an exciting life when you can do that back and forth. Yeah. Okay. And so the period you're talking about, like I was going to say, how long ago was it that you were at Barnstown?
94.
94. Okay. So it's 94. Been a little bit,
mm-hmm.
But that was the beginning really of really getting into it.
Yes.
So,
and I really got into it. We would have these models for 3 hours. And the good news about acrylics is it dries so quickly. So I'd be able to paint the model in those 3 hours. And I had to paint really quickly. And that was so much fun. I love having that kind of time constraint when I'm painting.
Let's go back to the actress thing, though.
Yeah.
Because this is something that you still do.
Oh, yeah.
So did you take classes for that? I mean, because this is
in New York, I hid out in classes for a good 10 years. I mean, just taking classes with the most phenomenal actresses in the world at the time. And I say hide out because it's a place where you can feel like you're doing something.
Right. You're always you're working on it with other people.
Yeah, and I was just trying to figure myself out. And it was very difficult to earn a living as an actress there. So I had all these odd jobs. I was a dresser for Geraldine Page on a Broadway show, and that was a nice income. The show was Agnes of God. I don't know if you guys know that show. Did you go to that show in New York?
No, I went to I saw the movie.
Oh, okay, yeah. This was a Broadway show. Yeah. So, and I basically just had these phenomenal mentors in the acting world. And I came out here to visit one of them actually out here and started working immediately.
And what were you
earning a living at it?
Were you doing, I see Bonnie Lambert's watching and she was an actress as well. She is an actress as well, but she's also a painter. Hey, Bonds. And she did plays and there's an interview with her. You should watch it. Anyway, so I mean, did you immediately go into commercials or were you?
No, I mean, I
parts.
The thing, TV shows, you know, episodics, Matlocks back in the day, the #1 show, and I was a guest star on it. It was quite a coup.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were on Matlock.
5 times.
Oh my God.
Andy Griffith liked me.
That's very cool.
I was on Falcon Crest for a season also.
What else? So, Matlock,
well, I mean, all the
Crest.
sitcoms, Frasier and Wings and all those shows.
Well,
you didn't know any of this?
No. I mean, I knew that you were an actress and I knew that you've been in things. I know that you're on a soap opera right now, right?
Yeah, but the storyline's over, so I'm not on it right now.
Which one was it?
The Young and the Restless.
And then I know that you were in that movie with Brad Pitt and
Moneyball.
And then were you in a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio?
No.
No, but I know that you're. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay. No, is that
anyway? What?
Okay. Never mind. Never mind. All right. Let's go back to art.
Yes.
All right. So you spent all this time painting, and what were you working the painting as a business at all?
No.
No.
Not at all.
Were you
Not
just-
at all. I didn't need to. I was just doing it for pleasure. But then, you know, there would be a show here or a show there, and I would show at the show and sell. And then I moved out here to Mount Washington, and I looked at my yard, which is amazing. I've got the most beautiful yard.
It's
that
a
goes
very
on
hilly yard with lots of greenery. It is gorgeous.
And I thought, well, I need to learn how to paint this yard. You know, I need to learn how to paint outside, and if I'm going to paint outside, I need to start painting in oil. So I started doing that, and it was a real struggle working in oil. It wasn't thrilling to me at all. It just
Really?
didn't have, I didn't have a relationship with it like I did with acrylic. So then, and I went hiking on top of the mountain, and there was a group of painters with art supplies, and I'm like, what are you doing? And we all ended up painting together. I joined them, and we're the Mount Washington plein air painters. And
Which
so
is incidentally sort of how I met you. I met
Yeah.
you through Rod, but then I started painting with them too.
Yeah.
What is it about oils that you don't like?
I don't know. I think I'm a little intimidated by. I mean, like this painting is acrylic with the flowers, and then this stuff is oil. Which one do you like better?
I like them all. I love like this one. I know this painting. I think this painting's fabulous. Here, I'm going to bring it a little closer. I love the blockiness of it in a way. You know, you've got crisper lines that I would be expected to see in an oil. You know, because I think maybe that's what bothers people about oils. You can't get crisp lines right away immediately because everything's very
look at the
mushy.
colors that appear, you know? And you're so into colors. You know what I'm talking about.
I know.
You know what it is about oils? I was painting with Jennifer McChristiansen, and she's a phenomenal artist. And I kind of was like, I stopped hearing my voice when I paint. And I started trying to paint like I thought I should. And that's the death of creativity. It's the death of creativity. I'm like, this should be like this. As opposed to, and doing it. And that's always where my best work comes out. Like that one's a good one.
Here, I'm going to go get it. Hold on.
You know, where I'm just like working without any editor in my head. The editor will kill me.
Here, I'm going to hold this back.
As soon as I think there's an audience that's going to see something, it wrecks it. That goes for acting too.
You know, and you work both in figurative styles and in abstract styles.
Yeah, my latest thing has been abstract.
I know.
Working from the emotion.
This right here. It's only the top of it. So working from the emotion, do you prefer it?
God.
Like now that you've worked in both, is it a preference?
I just go through phases. You know, I get into portraits. I love doing portraits as long as it's coming from the same source, which is, can't describe it, but there's a source where I have no editor and it's just me and the subject. And
How do you access that source? Let's talk about that, because this is interesting sort of little sideline here.
it's everything. It's everything as far as creativity and art is. It's no sideline.
No,
You know, it's like
Our
the
conversational
source.
sideline,
The source.
right.
How do I get to the source of creativity? It's almost accidental. I just have to be in that state. And basically my mantra is, fuck it. I say that. I just say, fuck it. I don't give a shit. And that really helps me get to it.
and then it just becomes, let's just see what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's a really good place to be in.
it's the only place.
Yeah.
Otherwise it becomes neat.
Is that what is?
Like this one. Here's a perfect example of me not being in my creative element. Look at this rigid.
She's showing it to you as if it's terrible. It is not terrible.
But, you know, I got to get the little boxes all right, you know, and the angles and the perspective. And I had no training in any of that. So I would spend hours trying to let me get the little angle correctly. And that's not where one...
But you did good. I mean, this is a lovely painting.
Yeah, but it wasn't... There was no fun in painting it because I was trying to make it right. Do you understand what I'm saying? This one was a little looser.
I know that's plein air work.
Now, this one is a good example of me having fun.
Here, I'm going to bring it closer. This is Diane
with
having
the elements,
fun
yeah.
with the elements.
Look at the colors in the bridge.
Here, I have to move a little closer so that you can see the colors. Sorry, my hand's a little shaky. It's hard to hold it back up here. Now, can you talk about your process here? Because, I mean, this has got a lot of texture on it.
Okay, so I put texture on the canvas first.
What did you use? Is this cold wax or it's cold wax?
So yeah, I put the texture on it first because I want the element of surprise when I'm painting. And then I take a palette knife, and this is basically a palette knife painting. Just smear it on.
Well, let's talk about, okay, so you've done that, and then all of a sudden, as of late, probably within the, last year, maybe 2? Has it been 2 years that you've been working in ceramics?
Oh, ceramics. Okay, so during COVID.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, ceramics.
During COVID, I did the artist way again.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
You did a second time. Wow.
Now there's this ceramicist who does all this really fun stuff, and I started buying up his ceramics because they were just so whimsical. And anyway, so I did the artist way again, and it led me to ceramics. And there's a pottery studio right down the street, and I went over there. I signed up. I took a class, became a member, and became obsessed. I just loved everything about it from beginning to end. It is the most phenomenal, tactile, fabulous thing, every aspect of it. So I just got obsessed with it and started doing it all the time. So yeah, that's my recent. This is hand built behind me.
So you started. I was going to say, did they start you on hand builds and then have you get on the wheel?
No, I went on the wheel immediately.
Immediately?
It's like a great place because you immediately, as soon as you sign up for the class, they have you working on how to learn how to work on the wheel. And I wanted to learn how to do the wheel because I was like, yeah, I can always do hand building, but this is a place where I can learn.
Right, because you need a tool to do. You need the wheel.
You need the wheel.
Right. Here, let's. I'm gonna pull this big piece over.
Well, this one is hand built.
Well, let's still talk about it anyway.
Yeah. This is a vase.
Here, I'm gonna show it to you like this, and I'm gonna flip it over so that you can see inside it. It looks like a fun horned instrument to me. Look at the back. Take it all the way around. It's really quite beautiful, and you can see the colors in the. I mean, look at all the colors in the glaze. It's pretty amazing. All right, so let's talk about this piece. Where did this idea come from on this piece?
Well, this friend of mine over there over at the pottery studio had done this vase with 3 tubes, 3 openings coming out. So that's where it came from.
And then you just decided to extend on that and play with it?
And I'm telling you, you go into this altered state. Time disappears and you're just building and building and building. Same thing happened with that one, which has not been glazed yet. Now these are my pouches, okay? These are pouches. Put popcorn and stuff in them. And I got into a kick making pouches, and they were selling like crazy.
I love these for like if you were making something and you needed to pour it into something else.
Yeah.
Because then this. Okay. The language.
Yeah, I sort of not. It's weird. Not as much. I don't have to say fuck it as much with the. Because you're on the wheel. And you're working with it. It's working with you. The clay has a life of its own. So there's a lot of.
It's so physical.
Yeah, because it is so physical.
Here's another one. Oh. Ooh, this one's red inside.
And I really love my ceramics. I really do. I love eating out of them and drinking out of them and having fun with the glazes and experiment. And it's like Christmas every day when I would go in to pick up a piece that I had glazed, because you never know how the glazes are going to turn out. There's so many
When you're doing
random elements to it.
When you're doing your ceramics work, how important is it to you to have them be functional as opposed to just, I mean, it's nice to have function and beauty, but
Yeah, they all
sometimes
do.
they all need to have function for you.
No, they don't need to, but they all do happen to have function. They
That's-
can all be used for something. I mean, you do any like a vessel,
Right.
it can be used for something.
Right, but sometimes people make creative plates, you know, that are only meant as decorative,
Yeah, no.
not,
Yeah, like
or like even sculptural pieces where they're only meant as sculptures. You know.
Well, these can be sculptures.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But these also have a purpose. I mean,
Yeah,
you could
exactly. I like that things have a purpose. I do.
I would love to see a bunch of greenery in this.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I bet.
Flowers springing out all over the place.
I bet. What other sorts of mediums are you curious about?
I don't know what I'm going to do next. I got into the abstract phase. What other mediums are there?
As many as you can dream up.
Yeah.
I come across them all the time. People telling me about all kinds of stuff that I've never experimented with. It's sort of amazing.
I made creative masks when COVID started. I was making masks out of blue jeans. Very hot.
It'd be great in colder climates. You know, they probably did a good job.
That's when there
keeping
was
the
a
virus at
shortage.
bay. Yeah.
And they needed masks. Yeah.
And now we just all buy masks and throw them away. I know. Ugh.
So what other medium?
I know. What are you curious about? I mean, because let's face it, it all starts from curiosity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm drawing a blank. I did work with spray paint.
Oh, that's right.
I love
I forgot about
graffiti.
that.
Yeah. So I had these large sheets of paper. I went into the backyard and I spray painted things from my imagination, faces and things.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
I remember that was a very short period though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
That was fun.
It's a messy job.
Yeah. And you have to wear a respirator or something because the paint droplets are so fine.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to coat the inside of your lungs with that.
No.
Mm-mm.
And, yeah, I know. And the colors are amazing. If you go to Home Depot, there are rows and rows and rows of brilliant colors. And I'm sure if you go to an art supply store, there are rows and rows of even more brilliant colors. Even more that are meant for graffiti. Yeah, and then they have spray tips, which I didn't know about. But there's special spray tips that create... I don't know, maybe I do love...
Maybe that
graffiti a lot.
Maybe back on that.
I am in awe of graffiti art.
What if you graffitied part of your backyard? Like, you've got walls. You've got stuff to do. I'm like looking at that wall right in front of me. I mean, it's a low wall. You'd see it every day.
Yep. Says she. Yep.
Yep.
Why not?
So you know what I want to know? I mean, you are a creative person through and through, and I know that just asking about this is sort of like, duh. But lots of people don't always know how to access their creativity. Do you do anything special? I mean, I know it's right here, but I mean, are you aware of it in any way, shape, or form? The way you access it?
Just the fuck it.
Just the fuck it?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Let me see what people are saying.
This is still there might be other comments. We can only see a few at a time.
How do I access it? That's a really odd question that I can't answer.
I mean,
does it need access?
Some people need access. Some people can't turn it on and off. They're not used to thinking about things that way. And so they need tools, whether it be...
Oh, you're talking about like a 9-to-5 job. No, I don't do that.
No, I'm talking about anything. It could have been a 9-to-5 job though, but I mean, just... like writers who start writing at 9 a.m. every morning and are very disciplined. I have no discipline. None. I do it when I feel like it. That's fine. Yeah. Thank God I don't have to earn a living at it because I can do it whenever I want. And that was the other thing. Like back then, when
when I was at the art students thing, I didn't want to feel like I have to do this to earn, you know what I mean? It had the beauty of having it. And I also, in the back of my mind, said, I'll earn enough as an actress to be able to go back to painting. I did say that back then when I gave it up.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'll earn enough, doing something else, which will be the acting, and then I'll go back to it. And that's exactly, I am so blessed and so fortunate that I was able to do that. And the fact that people buy it is just a bonus,
So I read all kinds of books now on creativity and accessing it and just other people's process. And one of my favorite books is called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. She's a woman that wrote Eat, Pray, Love.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, it's a great book about just all of this stuff. But one of the things that she always asks is, she always asks her writers and her artist friends, do you love art? Do you love painting? Do you love art? Answer?
Love it. I grew up going to galleries and museums all over the world.
Second part of this question, does art love you?
Yes.
Thank God. I love that answer. Good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Some people are indifferent. Some people are like, I don't know if it loves me, but I love it.
Oh, it has to. I'm going to cry.
Yeah, no, it has to. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, there's an affinity.
Yeah, I got you.
You did. You got me. You and Barbara Walters.
Barbara Walters?
She always made people cry.
Oh, God. Lord.
She was famous for making people cry.
I wonder why.
Yeah, because she would say, like, do you like the way you smell? I mean,
The answer would be no. I don't like the way I smell. No. Well, what else would you like people to know?
Well, I mean, it definitely is, the source of all this comes from something I don't know. I have 5 siblings and no one else is doing it. My sister did it as a kid and then completely stopped, but she is very, very creative.
That's really interesting to me that your siblings didn't connect with it. I have lots of siblings too, and each one of us have some version of this. It's very interesting.
Yeah, my grandfather was a cellist, conductor. He founded the National Symphony Orchestra. He was, and his wife was my grandmother was the artist, and she painted every day. It was kind of like her kids were incidental. All she wanted to do was paint. And my mother was the opposite. She would have been an amazing stockbroker. She was she was just so brilliant. She did write cookbooks, but what was I going to say? I think maybe it skips a generation. I think that because it comes from someplace I don't know. Like I said, when I started in the 90s at Barnsdale, this stuff was coming out that seemed to have been more sophisticated than a beginner would be doing. I
think when you line up with source, whatever that source is for you, it's inevitable. If source is guiding you to whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing, it's like you're standing under a little ray of light, and it's just and just sort of deflect it and move it to whatever you need it to be.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm very emotional, and it's such a great outlet for expression, particularly with the abstracts. Like when Trump won, I was mortified and so upset, and I came in here and just did this large canvas just to release my helplessness. Well, that one sold right away.
Did it?
Yeah.
I don't know if I know which one that is.
It's an abstract. It's probably on my website.
We can connect people to your website and to your Instagram page. On Instagram, she puts up her pottery constantly with really great music.
I do reels on Instagram. I figured that out.
Tom says, "Hi, just fuck it."
Oh, wow. That resonated with people, huh?
Yeah. Well, I think
it works. Okay.
I think it's a real thing. I mean, taking yourself so seriously while you're trying to do something, I don't know that it's
one has nothing to do with the other.
Yeah.
You can't, in my opinion. This is all my opinion. Take it or leave it.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. All right. Any last words for my friends? And
So nice to meet you guys.
any inspirational words for painting or art or pottery or life?
It's fun. You know, just go for it. It's amazing what comes out of one. And check out The Artist's Way. God, has that changed my life.
I'll put a link up for you guys later if anybody wants to get the book and work through it. Maybe one of these days I'm going to do that.
It is
too.
a workbook. I mean, you do have to write 3 pages every morning and do the exercises and really, but it's so well worth it to zero in on what it is you're really missing in your life and what you really want to get into.
I like it. All right, you guys. Thanks for watching. See y'all later. Bye.
Bye.